All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to talk about the American League West, give an update on that because a lot happened over the weekend. So on Friday, and pretty much, the whole week, I talked about the Houston Astros, and I said this team is going to win the division. Feel confident in that. Obviously, they've dealt with some struggles over the course of the season, but I felt as though, listen, this is the time of the year where they're going to figure it out, and they're going to be fine. They're going to be okay. And that was not the case. The Astros last week, or, almost 2 weeks ago, they played a series against the Royals, and they lost 2 out of 3 against the Royals. The Kansas City Royals. And the Kansas City Royals are a very bad team. They have lost over 100 games. Do they currently have the worst record in baseball? No, they don't. The A's have won 108. But the Royals are right behind them with 102 losses. So, this past weekend, they started a 3-game set. They had a 3-game set in Houston against the Royals. Now, there were 2 sweeps. The Rangers swept the Mariners, and the Royals swept the Astros. I don't even know what to say. I really don't. And so what I did was I went on Instagram and I went on an Astros fan page and I was reading all the comments. And honestly, it's kind of like reading a Yankee fan page because you're just like, yeah, Yankee fans were constantly complaining this season. It's like I was reading that on the Astros fan page. I mean, it's just talking about how the team just not been good, and a lot of them are calling for Dusty Baker to be gone after this year. I guess with how he manages, the pitching staff. But yeah, I'm at a loss for words, and this was in Houston, and the crazy thing is, and I made sure to write this down. So the Astros ended up finishing with a losing record at home, with a 39-42 record. And this is the first time they have done that since 2014. And this was the year before, everything went right with, when Correa and Altuve and all them. This is, because 2015 was when they, they first broke through, with Springer as well. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. It was a rough weekend for them. They're 3-12 in their last 15 games. And they are 2-7 versus the Royals and the A's. And like I just mentioned, the A's have 108 losses. That is horrible. And with that now, the Astros are now in the wild card. Now again, I said anything can happen. I said if the Astros aren't careful, they could find themselves in the wild card spot. Right now, yeah, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Right now they sit at 85-71. And the Mariners are a half game back of them. And the reason for that is the Mariners got swept by the Rangers. And as you guys know, I did say on a previous show, and you can go back and look for it, I did say I think the Rangers will be on the outside looking in. Based off of the injuries they're dealing with their pitching staff, how they've been struggling. And I'm not going to bet against the Astros, but the Rangers have played very well, really, since I said that. They did get swept by the Guardians in between all of that madness. But they've been playing very well. They've won 5 in a row. They're 87 and 68. Right now, they're 2.5 games up on the Astros, and they're 3 up on the Mariners. And they're in the driver's seat right now. And the magic number is 5. So, again, anything can happen in this final week of the season. But it's right now it looks like it's the Rangers division. So we'll go through the scores from Friday. So we'll go through the Astros first. So they lost 7-5 on Friday. And that was a good pitching matchup. You had Raggins, who was a part of that trade for Chapman. And Valdez was on the mound. Royals put up a 4 spot in the first inning. Bobby Witt Jr., RBI triple. MJ Melendez, he singled. Edward Olivares doubled, make it 3-0. And then Nick Lofton, he had a sac fly, so that was 4-0. Yordan Alvarez, he had an RBI double in the bottom of the first. Jose Abreu had a solo shot. Nick Prado had a ground out that scored a run in the top of the 6th. Isbell had a single to make it 7-2. And Chas McCormick hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th. And that was the final score, 7-5. So then Saturday's game, Astros lost 3-2. Jordan Lyles picked up the win. Jordan Lyles, who had 4 wins going into the season, he picked up his 5th win. He was 4-17 going into this game. And the Astros did nothing against him. The Astros offense was non-existent. Against Jordan Lyles. He went 5 innings, but he only gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Jordan Lyles, 17 losses, and you couldn't do anything against him. I mean, it's very bad. It's very bad. So, Melendez had a sac fly, Bobby Witt Jr. ground out that scored a run, Chas McCormick hit a home run, Kyle Tucker had an RBI double. This was in the bottom of the 8th. They got their 2 runs in the 7th and the 8th, and then they didn't do anything. And then we get to Sunday's game, and they lost that game 6-5. Astros, they scored in the first inning. They were up 1-0. And Royals, they put 3 runs up in both the second and the third inning. Astros put up a run in the bottom of the second. They put up 2 in the bottom of the third. And then they scored one more time. And that was basically it. Yeah, Jose Abreu led off the first inning with an RBI double. Scored Altuve. Nelson Velasquez, he homered to tie it. Matt Duffy. Man, Matt Duffy's still around, huh? 2-run home run. Make it 3-1. Altuve had a ground out that scored a run. Salvador Perez hit a home run to make it 5-2. Velasquez homered again. Make it 6-2. Chas McCormick ground out that scored a run. And then Yainer Diaz ground out that scored another run. And then Yordan Alvarez hit a home run. Make it 6-5. And that was it. That was it. Astros get swept by the Kansas City Royals. And listen, I did say on Friday, Astros got a sweep. They got a sweep. There's no excuse that they shouldn't. They're at home, not a good team. That's a series that they should sweep. And there was a sweep. The Royals were the ones that swept the Astros, not the other way around. And the big question is now, are the Astros in trouble? Yeah, they are. They play the Mariners now, who are fighting for their playoff lives because they're a half game out now. They're the team that's on the outside looking in. And if the Astros aren't too careful, they're going to be the team that's going to be on the outside looking in. And again, it's still up for grabs. You got them playing each other for 3 games, and then the Rangers and the Mariners play again. I think a 4-game set to conclude the season. And then that's it. So the division might be over. The American League West might be over. But there's those wild card spots that you got to figure it out. Because one of them is not going to make it. And the Blue Jays right now, I mean, they're the other team that's involved in all this. And we'll get into more of that when we go over the American League playoff picture. Right now, they're 2 games up on the Astros for that second wild card. So, there's still time for, the Blue Jays could collapse, and then that changes a lot. The way this playoff race has been in both leagues, something is always changing. So right now, Blue Jays got the second spot. You got the Mariners and the Astros. That could all change. Especially in this last week of the season. So, but yeah, Mariners had a rough week in Texas. So we'll run through that very quickly. They lost Friday's game 8-5. Dunning picked up the win. Miller picked up the loss. So the Rangers, that was an important game. They got off to a good start with that series. Then you get into Saturday's game. Rangers won 2-0. Jordan Montgomery pitched very well in this game. So Montgomery got the win. Chapman got the save. So you got 2 former Yankees, helping them in a pennant race. So we'll look at Montgomery. So he went 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. And like I said, Chapman picked up the save there. The scoring in that, Mitch Garver had a single, and Jonah Heim had a single as well that scored a run. Bottom of the second was Mitch Garver's, and bottom of the fourth was Jonah Heim. So that was a 2-0 win for the Rangers. And then to cap off the sweep, this was a high-scoring affair. 9-8 was the final score. Rangers take that. Eovaldi picked up his 12th win on the season. Marcus Semien, he started off the game with a home run to make it 1-0. Teoscar Hernandez homered in the top of the second to tie it. J.P. Crawford hit a home run to make it 2-1. Corey Seager hit his 33rd home run of the season to make it 3-2 Texas. Adolis Garcia hit his 36th. Tavares hit a home run to make it 6-2, a 2-run shot. Semien hit another home run, so a lot of power in this game by the Rangers. Kelenic had a ground out that scored a run in the top of the 6th. Suarez sacrificed fly to make it 7-4. Sam Haggerty, he tripled to make it 7-5. Evan Carter hit a 2-run home run to make it 9-5. Teoscar Hernandez singled in the top of the 7th to make it 9-6. Kelenic singled to make it 9-7. And then Suarez hit a single to make it 9-8. So the Mariners tried to come back, but they fell short. And they ended up getting swept. And they are the team that's on the outside looking in. So right now, they got 3 against Houston at home, and then they got 4 against Texas at home. So what benefits them is all their games are at home. So that's good for them. I mean, I don't want to make a prediction, but I think right now you're leaning towards Texas is going to take the division right now. And listen, because the Mariners and the Astros are going to be playing each other, so that helps Texas a lot. So Texas right now is playing, they play the Angels. So, yeah, you kind of got to like Texas to get it done, and especially with the other 2 teams playing each other. But then it's all about that third wild card spot. Now, again, the Blue Jays, they could collapse, and then you got the Mariners and the Astros in. But I don't know. Right now, I think the Blue Jays are fine. I think it's just going to come down to the Mariners and the Astros. And both of them just got swept. And somebody's got to win the series that they're playing now in Seattle. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But it's a big series coming up, so make sure to pay close attention to that, especially if you're a fan of both of those teams. And so that's basically this segment with the American League West. So when we come back from our second break, we are going to look at the overall playoff picture, which we kind of did, but we'll touch upon the scores again from this weekend involving some of the other games. Blue Jays and the Rays played each other. The Twins wrapped up the Central, so we'll talk about that for a little bit. So that'll be the third segment of the show when we come back. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.